Hello, this is Baron Jones, and I will be explaining international economics. Now I will be explaining the difference between comparative advantage and absolute advantage. Absolute advantage basically compares the productivity of different producers or economies. Excuse me. So it's basically saying the producer that requires a smaller quantity inputs to produce a good is said to have absolute advantage in producing that good. Let's say if a country basically produces, say if country A produces 10,000 CarMaxes and 10,000 cones, while country B produces 500 CarMaxes and 500 cones. Country A has an absolute advantage over country B because it produces more of both these products. Now, comparative advantage is when one country produces more of a good than the other. So say if country A produces 20,000 bottles of water, while country B produces 500 bottles of water. Now, country B also has 15,000 bags of hot fries, while country A has 10,000 bags of hot fries. The country A and country B would best be suited to trade. So country A, it trades with country B. Country A will get some more hot fries. Country A will spend most of his time producing this, while country B will spend most of his time producing this. And so they trade, and one will have a good amount of this, and one will have a good amount of this. They just traded. They just made the best decision they can make because they both have a good amount of the other good. Now, that is comparative advantage versus absolute advantage. So basically, to sum it up, absolute advantage is having more of an item and not just one good but the other. While comparative advantage is having a little bit more than one good than the other country, while the other country has more so of one good than your country. Okay, now I will be explaining why most trade takes place under comparative advantage. So you know how comparative advantage is trading. So one country trades something for the other. So most countries do that. I I mean I haven't necessarily seen a country that doesn't do that, but from what I know, they mostly use comparative advantage and not absolute advantage. Comparative advantage helps countries build and have more of a good than they usually have. Like I said, if a country trades one item for another, while the other country trades one item for the other, they both have a good amount of both products. That's why we mostly use comparative advantage so that every country can thrive. Because if a country can't thrive, then sad to say that we wouldn't be having all the stuff that we do have. Like phones, these phones came from China. Why are we flexing? These phones came from China. Like China creates a lot of the junk. I mean, they create phones, they create laptops. I mean, I can go on and on and on. We've been trading with China for the longest. Sad to say, but it's true. We U.S. don't create all these laptops and phones. That's why it costs so much to get an iPhone. iPhone don't come from U.S. The junk come from China too. Now I will be explaining the difference between balance of payments and balance of trade. Balance of payment is basically it basically records financial transactions made between consumers, businesses, and the government in one country with others. Balance of payments is when a country records the payments and receipts of the residents of the country and their transactions with residents of other countries. Basically, if all transactions are included, the payments and receipts of each country must be equal. Excuse me. Any inequality would just not be right. It wouldn't. It would acquire the country will acquire assets with the others. So, and just to throw this out, balance of trade is actually included in the balance of payments. I mean, to be honest, I just learned that. Shocker. But yeah, that's. I love learning about economics. To be honest, I don't really like studying that much, but it's pretty. It teaches you a lot of stuff that you probably should know, but you don't. Like we really should know about comparative advantage. We should have been learning about this, to be honest. In high school, now we learn about economics. Why couldn't just tell us that in elementary? You told me that if I give you two Carmexes and you give me two bags of hot fries, I would have been gave you some. What you mean? So that was my teaching or attempted teaching of international trade, dealing with balance of payment, balance of trade, comparative advantage, absolute advantage, and why a country chooses to why we use comparative advantage. Now I hope y'all had great lesson because I'm a good teacher. I mean, Baron, who doesn't love my teaching? Because I'm smart, you're smart, I'm teaching you. You're a great student. Just you're a great student. You're thumbs up to both of y'all. Look at this. This thumb is. Look at this. This thumb is so inaccurate to this thumb. Don't judge me.